Hello, it's Karen Burniston here with an assembly video for one of our die sets. This is die number 1198, the Landscape Rectangle Accordion, and you can check out all of our die designs at karenburniston.com. What's nice about the finished size on this one is that it fits in that shorter business envelope, so it ends up being 3.5 inches by 6 inches when folded up. It is completely generic and can be decorated for any theme, and you are also in charge of how many pages. The die set includes 9 individual pieces. It also is a stamping die, so there is one die in the set that has a stamp coating on it, and it will add that wood grain texture to the frame. I've decided on a 3-page accordion, so I'm going to use this die and cut 3 pages, and I am using a nice sturdy 100-pound smooth cardstock. If you're planning on adding paper to the pages, then really you could get by with a lighter weight cardstock, and 80-pound would be just fine. You can use any of the major die cutting machines that accommodate a wafer-thin die, and today I'm using my Spellbinders Platinum 6. And I'm getting just a hint of that emboss feature showing up on the outer frame because that is heavyweight cardstock. If I really want to make it show up, then I should use an embossing sandwich in the machine. So for this machine, that means die blade side up, and then my paper, and then over the top goes my tan squishy mat and my purple embossing pad, and those both come with the machine for a Spellbinders Platinum 6. For other machines, if the embossing sandwich doesn't come with it, it's usually an accessory that you can buy separately. Okay, so by running through with an embossing sandwich, then I really highlight that cool emboss feature on that outer frame. But that is a 2-step process. Right now it's only been embossed. I need to put the die back into those grooves again, set my machine up for a regular cutting sandwich, and then send it back through to cut it. The embossing step definitely adds a lot of cool visual interest to that outside frame. Another way to decorate the accordion is to use the die itself with some pattern paper, because then that can be cut into decorator pieces to decorate either the outer frame or the inner rectangle or both. To connect the pages together, I use the long tapered tab that is on each page. So the first step is just to find the fold next to that tab. I like to use a bone folder to make sure that I get a nice crisp fold. And I'll do that on all 3 pages. And if I was doing more pages, I would just keep on going down, working that fold next to that long tapered tab. So on this 3rd page, I am going to find the fold just so I can see it pretty easily, but I do actually want to just cut that tab off. So once you get to the end of your run of pages, so in my case, I'm doing 3 pages, I can cut the tapered tab off of page 3 because I don't have a page 4. Now I'm going to arrange the 3 pages on the table with tabs to the right, and then I will use those tabs to connect the page to its neighbor. So on page 1, I just add my strong glue all over that tapered tab. I do like a strong glue for this. So I'm using my LINECO neutral pH adhesive in my fine tip bottle. We do sell both of those items on our website. And then I'm just going to get that tab attached behind that 2nd page. And then now I use the tapered tab that's on the 2nd page to connect it to page 3. And I just want to make sure that I don't cross the fold line when I'm connecting those pages together. Okay, the 3 pages put together, and now I'm ready for decorating. Later on, after I finish decorating, then these pages will fold accordion style, so it'll start with a valley and then go to a mountain, just to kind of give a little visual of how it's eventually going to look. But for now, it's easier to decorate it by just leaving it flat. Okay, the first bit of decorating I'm going to do is to put that cool embossed frame in the center page. So I'm going to cut off the tab on this one since I don't need it. I'm not using this as a structural page, but just as a decorator frame. So I can also cut the inside portion of the accordion away so that I'm left with just that outer frame that will perfectly fit my accordion page. Now, if I were to just glue this on, most likely later on when I trained it, I would fold this valley fold up and it would just shift that frame a bit because there's no room for it in that fold. So a good idea is just to take your scissors and trim just a little bit off of that decorator frame, just on the side that is going to go into that valley fold. You can see that's just such a small amount taken off, but it makes all the difference in having the accordion not shift that page as it folds up later. And since that frame was cut with the exact same die, it's easy to line it up. I just look at the inner corners and edges and make sure that it's lined up perfectly. Now I could do the same thing with my pattern paper frames. I could cut out the interior parts and then trim off the long tab and then put it on the page. However, there's another option. We have a new die set called our Short Rectangles Crosshatch, and the largest die works perfectly for when you want to trim down one of the pages to make a decorator frame that has the crosshatch pattern and also is a little bit smaller so that some of that original page color will show around the perimeter. So I just make sure that die looks even on that page, and then once I die cut it, I'll be left with this perfect paper frame that also has that cool crosshatch pattern. And then that will fit on the accordion, lined up perfectly with the inside edge, but showing just a little bit of the original page color on the outside edge. Now you can get a similar look, but just minus the pretty crosshatch pattern if you trim with your trimmer those paper frames and take a little bit off of the outside edge. There is also the option to use a paper rectangle on the accordion by just trimming off the side tab and the pivot points, and then you'll be left with the perfect piece to fit a page of the accordion. And I decided just to cover this entire page with paper, but again, if I had wanted to do a rectangle that would fit it but leave a little bit of the green showing, I could have used those Short Rectangles Crosshatch. One of the smaller rectangles will fit perfectly. This decorator piece that comes in the set is a stamping die. So what that means is that it has an extra layer in the die that creates a pattern. And if you run it through with no ink, you will still get that pattern. It'll just be pressed down into the piece like a debossed pattern. It'll be pretty subtle, but you will be able to see it. However, if you would really like to highlight it, then I suggest inking the die before you send it through your machine. Now I can just brush the ink pad over the die, or I could press the die into the ink pad. Since this is a frame, I like to use something like a paper towel or a nonstick sheet to press the die down into the ink. It just saves my fingers. And then I'm going to use my Spellbinders magnetic pickup tool to move that die over to my die cutting machine and run it through. We do sell those magnetic pickup tools on our website. Just look under tools and accessories in the shop. So just adding ink to that stamping die, and then you'll get a cool wood grain pattern that has been stamped into the piece while you were die cutting. All you need for cleanup is some water and a rag. So I just have some water in a squirt bottle. I just squirt the die and then just wipe it off with a rag, and it's ready for another color. One of the things that I thought people might do with this die set with that cool frame would be to put pictures on it. It makes such a nice display piece. And so I thought a great little tiny accessory in the die set would be a little camera. So that comes in two pieces. There's the camera itself, and then there is the little circle that makes the lens. What I've done is I've cut those out of a black mirror cardstock. Now, so that you don't always have to decorate sort of a long rectangle as a single scene, all of the decorator pieces that come included are meant to subdivide each pivoting page into two smaller vignettes. So you get all of these different sizes included in the die set, and of course those can be combined in all sorts of ways. Maybe it's going to be as simple as just a framed photograph like this, or maybe you're going to fill that with some other die cuts or stamps. I decided to fill mine with our big birthday charms. So I've created my little framed birthday charms, plus I have the one that I use the camera that comes in the set. So that gives me 4 little framed items to use in my outer pages. And then in the middle, I'm just going to use our happy birthday and happy birthday shadow as a greeting. It's really nice that you have that option with this die set, that inner pivoting rectangle is large enough that it can easily be decorated as a single scene or as 2 smaller scenes. Okay, so my decorations are done and I'm ready for assembly, but I have to decide if I want paper frames on the back, because now would be the time to add them before I've assembled the accordion completely. And I decided to go ahead and add them. You know, that really is optional, but I do like the way the back of the album also looks really polished. Back to the front again for final assembly. It is going to be the small tabs that are on the inner pivoting rectangles that connect to their neighbor. But out here on page 3, I don't need that little small tab because there isn't a neighbor to connect it to. So I can just take my scissors and trim off that small tab that's on my final page. Step 1 is going to be to stand the accordion up and work the pages into an accordion shape. So that means valley fold first, then mountain fold, then keep alternating if you have more pages. Now I alternate which side I pivot. So I pivot the right side of the first rectangle, the left side of the next rectangle, then the right, and I would just keep alternating if I had more pages. So it's the little small tabs that are attached to the rectangles that are used to connect those rectangles to their neighbor. So the first thing I want to do is find the fold line at the edge of the tab on the first page and the second page. The tab for the first page is going to be a mountain fold as it connects to the second page. So I can just work that fold to the back, then add my strong adhesive to the tab, bring that page 2 over to page 1, and then just line them up and press them until the glue sets. So it's a small tab. It doesn't have a lot of area on it. So you definitely want a strong adhesive and you want to take your time and make sure that the glue is set up. Okay, then between page 2 and page 3, I'm going to add the adhesive to the tab. Now this one's going to be a valley fold. So I bring that page over to the second page. And then because it is a valley fold, it's going to want to pop that tab off as you close it up. So definitely give it a second to get a strong bond. And then to train it to fold flat, grab the rectangles and then just pivot them so that they fold opposite the frames. And that will pivot that first page around and become the front. So when you folded it correctly, as you look at it from the top, it'll have alternating zigzags. The envelope size is just that standard business envelope, the shorter one that will fit a 3.5 by 6 inch card. Now, if you added enough pages to the accordion, then I imagine it would no longer fit in that envelope. But a 2, 3, 4 pager should fit no problem in that envelope. Then you can always go up to a full slimline size, or you could go with a 5 by 7 envelope if you have a thicker accordion. So that is the assembly of the Landscape Rectangle Accordion. And of course, you can see how incredibly generic it is. It can be decorated for any theme. For the card that's shown on the packaging, I used our new Flutter charms to decorate it. And then in the middle, sending a smile from our word set 14. And the frames are cut out of yellow cardstock, but then stamped with black for a lot of contrast. Here's a lovely 2-page Landscape Rectangle Accordion by Karen Aicken. I like that she's used our new mini alphabet and number set for a custom greeting of Be Happy. And then on the back, she's added that word set 14, sending a smile. So with this accordion, even just 2 pages makes a wonderful card and display piece. Here's another card by Karen Aicken showing those short rectangles crosshatch used for the outer frames, and then she's used the Flutter Charms dragonfly to decorate the inner page. For this 2-page sympathy card by Karen Aicken, she used the scalloped rectangle out of the short rectangles crosshatch, actually attached it to the pivoting rectangles, and you can see her beautiful handwriting on the back. And Karen has also used the butterfly from the Flutter Charms on this card. I adore this 3-pager by Fran Sabad, Happy Mother's Day, with the dolled up charms and the purse, the love you from the pop and swap. Such a great mix of dies on this one. Lois Bach with a 2-pager using the mini alphabet as well as the Flutter charms. Frances Byrne with the monkey from our Monkey and Lion die set, plus the mini alphabet for a custom greeting Go Bananas. Kelly Booth used that stencil emboss feature on all of the pages with a pen to really highlight the pattern. And then she's used the mini alphabet for a custom greeting as well as the Flutter charms. And Kelly also made a 2-page version, and notice how she switched out the colors on the stenciling on that outer frame. The Landscape Rectangle Accordion die set is available now at a lot of your favorite local and online retailers, as well as on our website, KarenBurniston.com. Thanks for watching. If you click on the website link, you'll go to KarenBurniston.com, where you can purchase these dies as well as find links to our other social media accounts. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel and check out some of my other videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.